Hi there folks, my name's NovaWrap and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for all your simulation release news from goings on from the week that was. Alrighty, so this is the news for Sunday 13th of November 2016, and we are kicking off this week with a release. Well, it's an out of early access release. So this is for DCS World. So the F5E Tiger 2, which has been kicking around now for about 6 months or so in early access, has emerged out of its early access and is now in its final state. And to celebrate, the guys over at DCS are offering a quick little bundle deal that actually allows you to pick up the F5E Tiger 2 with the Nevada Test and Training Map or with DCS Flaming Cliffs 3 if you are quick on that one, as by the time this goes to air you will only have a few hours left to grab that, so just bear that in mind. But yes, as I said, it's been around for a little while. It looks absolutely fantastic, and it has now been polished and delivered to us in its final state, available now from the DCS World store. Alrighty, moving on now to the simulations in this week. On to XPlane 10. So we saw a scenery release for XPlane 10 this week. So you saw from the guys over at Airworthy Designs. We saw SPSO, or Pisco Airport, Pisco International Airport, located in Peru. So this is not the main international airport, but it is the main alternate airport for any inbound flights coming into the capital Lima, but is primarily there as a training hub for a lot of local flight schools and a lot of GA aircraft operations. So this one's been done now. What's really interesting this one is not just the airport, but it's a pretty significant area around the airport as well. Like, it's 200 square miles of photoreal scenery with custom autogen and custom buildings and custom night lighting all around the airport as well. So the full city of Pisco has been included with this. It looks absolutely spectacular and really kind of cool. One really interesting thing though is that you can really tell where the actual scenery stops and where the default stuff starts. It's literally there's literally this line in the sand where it happens. But yeah, no, but the actual scenery that has been provided as part of this package is absolutely amazing. And as I said, incredibly detailed, not just of the airport but of the surrounding city as well. So looking really, really nice and impressive as well. As well as it's got a custom, as I said, custom 3D models for the airport, custom 3D autogen, the complete picturing of and rebuilding of the city, as well as a lot of static aircraft operating there as well for your scenery benefits. So yes, available now from Sim Market for €15 or your regional equivalent, available now. Alrighty, now moving into the ESP world with the FSX and FSX Steam and P3D. So we saw quite a few releases this week. So it's sort of again continuing on the juggernaut towards the end of the year. So we saw a couple of releases this week. So we saw Sawfly Concepts released their latest in their flagship series, which is the Durham Tees Valley Airport, also formerly known as Testside Airport, which is located about 30 miles south of Durham. It used to be an old RAF base until it was handed over to the civilian use in the 1960s. It was officially renamed to Testside up until 2004, where it became marketed as the Durham Tees Valley Airport. Though sometimes the locals will still call it Testside, but there you go. It's, as I said, it is a former RAF base, so it is quite large. It's got some of the old runways there as well. Looking at some quite impressive scenery for this one. What's kind of cool with this one is the guys over at Sawfly still maintain, for those who still fly in the world of FS9 or FS 2004, it is compatible with that as well. It is sold as a separate product, but yeah, so you can pick this one up for the whole ESP platform range and its predecessors. So available for FS9, FSX, and P3D. Available now from Sim Market for €15 or your regional equivalent. Alright, in other scenery releases this week, we also saw the guys over at MSK Productions. Now they've produced they've rebooted their Islamabad International Airport. So this is the main airport for the capital city of Islamabad. It is located just outside of the main city, but it still serves as the primary that one. Now it did see quite a huge amount of quite a huge traffic due to sort of the earthquakes in the Kashmir region back in 2005, including up to the giant AN-225 Myra was actually also there as well. So got a few sort of unusual aircraft coming through that one as well. But it does also serve as not as serve as a home for the national hub for Pakistan International Airlines, but it also serves as a split civilian and military base, as a Pakistani Air Force base as well. So all your major airport buildings are there. Pretty good looking, like reasonably good looking. What's the 3D models have been used for this one, giving a good feel of the airport as well. Night lighting is looking pretty nice as well, and it seems to be slightly erring on the slightly lower quality, but it's aiming for to make sure it doesn't hit your frames or anything like that. But otherwise, it does look like quite a good rendition of the airport as it stands at the moment, so it's looking pretty good. Available now from Sim Market for €20, or your regional equivalent available now. In other scenery releases this week, so we saw the guys from PK Sim. They produced another one from South America. This one from a Colombian airport. So this is the Jose Maria Cordova International Airport, so Sierra Kilo Romeo Golf. This one is a reboot of their previous release scenery. So there is an update offer going through Sim Market if you do previously own it. It does have, as I said, opened in 1985. So it's got a whole heap of, so it serves as a very high capacity airport for serving a lot of airlines for the local area, as well as being a huge cargo depot as well. It keeps quite interesting there. Got some beautiful looking models in there. It's got some nice setups for fully compatible with GSX services as well, and as well as native animated jetways coming through there as well. Fully DX10 compatible and up to date with the latest 2016 expansions, so it is up to date as it is. As I said, so with some of the sceneries that we're seeing recently, sort of an interesting mix of the autogen with the photoreal. Photoreal quality is a little bit hit and miss on this one, but overall the actual buildings and actual what makes an airport is still looking quite good. And as I said, available now from Sim Market for about €19, or your regional equivalent available now. Alrighty, and continuing on with yet another scenery release this week. So this we saw the guys from Godzone. So these guys are all real New Zealand. So these guys have been producing some very high some interesting little products over the past little while. They've come out with a previous New Zealand set of scenery, New Zealand Nelson scenery. So this one is their Dunedin. So this one includes the so it includes the Dunedin Airport, but it also includes almost 2,500 square kilometres of photoreal scenery covering the Tairi Plains, Dunedin City, and the Otago Peninsula as well. Gives you two detailed airports in this one, so you get NZD and NZTI. And also, along with that, as long as the surrounding city and surrounding ports of interest have also been fully modelled with this one as well. This is fully compatible across the FSX, FSX Team Edition, and P3D variants and ranges as well. As well as maintaining full compatibility both with default scenery and land class and mesh, as well as FTX Global's New Zealand South Island as well, along with its own custom 5-meter elevation mesh for the city, peninsula hills, and the coastline as well. Now, so these guys do put a lot of effort and a lot of detail into their sceneries, and kind of cool. And one of my favourite places to fly is in New Zealand, in my sim. So I thoroughly enjoy flying New Zealand, and I think this is going to be a great add-on for anyone who shares or would like to discover what it's like to fly in the land of the long white clouds. So yeah, available now from either direct from their web store or from your favorite flight sim retailer for around about $35 or your regional equivalent available now. Alrighty, continuing on with other releases this week. So the guys over at Takeflight Interactive. So Takeflight Interactive, of course, the makers of Air Alaska, that Very well received mission pack. They came out with another mission pack a little while ago, which Final Approach, which was received some mixed reviews. They've now come out with another release as well, another mission pack that release as well for a very affordable price of only €5. Very affordable. So this one is Farm Air. So this one is designed for FSX only, not designed for P3D. So this one is designed for you to be able to test your metal, as it is being a crop duster and working with various agricultural pursuits as well as just some challenges and some interesting scenarios for you as well. Now, this is designed to be flown either with the default FSX Maul, or alternatively, it is designed to be compatible with Alabao's PA36 Pawnee Brave. Now, at the moment, this is only available, from what I can tell, over at the Sim Market store. However, I do know that a Steam version is in the works, so we should be seeing an FSX Steam Edition version coming out in the near future as well. But otherwise said, for now, if you can't wait, it is available now, as I said, for €5, available now over at Sim Market. Alrighty, moving away from scenery releases into the world of actual machine releases this week. So this week we saw the release of Serassim. So Serassim for those who may not know, Serassim specialize in doing Bell helicopters. They produce some absolutely outstanding renditions of the Bell 212 and 412 series, along with doing an absolutely mind-blowingly amazing UH-60 Black Hawk as well. But it's been very quiet from them. We haven't really heard a lot from them for the last 2 years. They've been very, very quiet. But they've come back with a vengeance now. So this time they've released a Dauphin. So the Aerospatiale, or Eurocopter as it is now, AS365N3. So this is a very unique helicopter with its fan sort of. I'm trying to remember what it is. I know it's a fan. It's a tail fan rotor, but yeah, there's a proper name for it. But it completely escapes me at the moment. Anyway, but yeah, very distinctive aircraft used by several police and medical services around the world, as well as by the U.S. Coast Guard, known as Dolphin in Coast Guard service, as well as by the French and Brazilian navies. So yeah, this one is as we come to expect from the detail that comes from Serassim, is definitely modelled here, with a fully functioning 3D cockpit, 3D virtual cockpit, 3D gauges, all functioning. Everything seems to work. Absolutely incredible range of animations as well, complete with the emergency flotation equipment. That is a feature, or an optional feature that can be fitted to the Dauphin. So it's absolutely amazing in the detail, and it actually works. If you actually land the thing in the water, it will inflate and it will support you. So that's kind of cool. You do get 5 liveries included with this one, all in 2048 HD textures, as well as your own paint kit as well. But yeah, as I said, looking very impressive. And if Serasim's previous work is anything to go by, this is going to be one for all you helicopter fans to definitely look at grabbing. Available now from their web, from Serassim directly, or available from your favorite flight sim retailer. Now available for around about 25, $28 or your regional equivalent, available now. Alright, continuing on with aircraft releases. Well, aircraft re-releases, shall we say. So this week we saw 2 new additions to the FSX Steam Edition library on Steam. So we saw the both from the Batavia stables. So we saw the Boeing Vertol CH-47D Chinook and the XB-70 Valkyrie. Now these are 2 products that have actually been around for quite a while from Batavia. Good few years. Look, they're good entry-level products, particularly the CH-47. If you're looking for a good entry-level CH-47, you don't want to go to the complexity that you can get from the I was about to say the Milviz one, but I know it's not Milviz. It's Nemeth Designs. Nemeth Design do possibly the best one on the market. But it is very complex, very system driven. If you're looking for something a little bit easier to get access to, the Batavia one is a good solid one to get. However, and the XB-70, of course, was an experimental bomber, that supersonic long range bomber that sadly had some issues during flight testing, which caused the tragic death of a crew and of a chase plane pilot as well. So it's very tragedy and caused the cancellation of the program. But otherwise, it was just a beautiful, absolutely beautiful aeroplane. It really was. Anyway, yes, but as I said, these releases have been around for quite a while when it comes to from Batavia, and as usual, I do have to say that. Yeah, look, I can't recommend you guys if you pick them up. If you do like these aircraft and do want to grab them, and I do encourage you, especially as I said, the CH-47 is a very accessible version of the Chinook. However, I do have to say that I do not recommend you get them on the Steam Edition store because, as is quite common with the Steam Edition store, all the liveries have been removed. So just the base color scheme and the base sort of factory colors are left. So the actual markings are gone. And I know the liveries, particularly for the CH-47, actually has the Royal Air Force's very, very famous, infamous or famous Bravo November color scheme. So I do recommend, if you do want to pick these up, that instead of picking it up on the Steam Edition store, that you do pick it up from your favorite flight sim retailer as a third-party separate, and pick it up from there and get the benefit of all the amazing liveries that you get with these add-ons for outside of Steam Edition version. But if you do want to pick it up on the Steam Edition version, the Chinook is available for $17 or your regional equivalent, and the Valkyrie is available for $13 or your regional equivalent, available now on Steam. Alright, moving away from the world of flight simulation and moving into the world of transportation. So this week we saw an interesting release. So we saw a release of Transport Fever. So Transport Fever is a simulation, like a transport simulation, almost like a city building kind of game, but it's a transportation network kind of building game where you take the reins as a newly started transport tycoon starting out in the world and wanting to actually build your company up to great riches and services and master the challenges of both train, air, rail, road, and sea. So you get in charge of all sorts of detailed. So you get trains, aircraft, ships, buses, trams, and trucks are all included with this one, as well as interactive cities and game environments, and actually global environments as well that you can interact with. Now, these guys, these are the same producers as the guys who produced Train Fever, available, which was released last year. So essentially this is an extension of that to give you various different transport types, and covers over 150 years of transportation history as well. So kind of interesting idea. It'd be interesting to see how it gets executed. You've got two different game modes with that one. You got a campaign mode, of which there are two campaigns. There's a European and an American-based campaign which guides you through the various historical and economic changes that happened in both those parts of the world over the course of 150 years of transportation evolution. Or you have an endless game where you actually sort of have essentially it's just like they're just an ongoing, just drive your burgeoning company to the best and the greatest heights you can achieve with an ongoing mode. So yeah, looking pretty interesting. It's touting a lot of simulation modes with sort of the way it sort of simulates population density and urban development alongside your transportation network, and the fact that they will feed off each other, as well as physics-based graphics and lighting as well, which is kind of cool. Full modding support is available through Steam Workshop's support as well, which is kind of cool. And I'll be honest, there's one really cool part about this that's got me sold. One of the aircraft that's available to you is the de Havilland Comet, DH-4C Comet. Like that's just such an iconic, awesome addition that's so overlooked by so many people, and so many people don't even know what the Comet is, and that makes me sad. It makes me terribly sad that you're missing out. But yeah, kind of cool that it's in there, along with the DC-6, the C-47, and the Lockheed Constellation, and the 757, all included, as well as others. So yeah, really, really cool, looking interesting. Not sure how it's going to go, but as I said, it's sold me on the fact that it's got a Comet. Anyway, if you are looking at exposing yourself to Transportation Fever, available now on Steam for $35 or your regional equivalent, available now. Now, of course, speaking of transportation networks, it's time to move on to a few new releases that we saw for Dovetail Games Train Simulator this week, Train Simulator 2017. So we saw a few add-ons. So we saw, first one we saw was the Marketplace add-on, which is a scenario pack for their Donna Pass DLC. Now, this is again like a lot of their marketplace stuff. It is simply an add-on to existing add-ons, as it were. So add-on to an add-on to an add-on kind of thing. Anyway, so yeah, $10 for 10 scenarios, so $1 a scenario. However, to make full use of all of the 10 scenarios that are actually available for this one, you do need to have, as a bare minimum, you need to have the Donna Pass route. You also need to have content from the Sherman Hill and Soldier Summit routes as well. So certain equipment comes packaged with those, certain scenery elements and terrains and stuff like that. So just be aware that if you're going to make full use of all the 10 missions that you get in this mission pack, there are 3 pieces of DLC that you do need to pick up as well. But otherwise, if you do have that DLC and do want to pick it up, then this is available now on Steam for $10 or your regional equivalent. Alright, so in 2 other related releases we saw this week as well. So we saw the Hamburg S1 S-Bahn route, which is the Hamburg's second largest route, which goes through the outskirts of the city and out to the airport. So this particular route gives you 4 trains. It gives you 4 different trains to use in Deutsche Bahn red liveries, as well as the Doppelstockwagen. I have no idea what a Doppelstockwagen does, but you get that included as rolling stock, included in this one as well, along with 7 scenarios, 7 career scenarios, and 3 railfan mode scenarios as well. All this included. So this includes 45 kilometers of basically the complete S1 route, plus the 64 adds to the existing 64 kilometers of the Hamburg-Lübeck railway unit. So over 108 kilometers in total of railway lines. And gives it a few different AI traffics as well for that one as well. And yeah, looking kind of cool, kind of interesting, fully quick drive compatible as we come to used to all the other DLC. Now, the other related release, before I get into price, so the other related release this week, we saw the Deutsche Bahnhof BR114 locomotive. So this is got a really fascinating history, and I'll sort of just touch briefly based on it. So the core design of this was actually an East German design from before the wall fell. Before the wall fell, when during the oil crisis, it became very readily apparent to the East German rail operators that oil and diesel powered trains were possibly not the way to go, and electricity might be a better way to go. So it called for an urgent requirement for a new train to be able to operate on an electrified network. And through various iterations, this was what came out of it. Following the reunification of Germany, it was actually one of the first decisions that the 2 rail networks from the east and west actually both co-purchased. So both Deutsche Rail and Deutsche Bahnhof and oh God, here we go. I lost it. I had the other one, but the East German equivalent with the initials DR. Oh, I'm having one of those days today. I really am. Anyway, both sides, before they amalgamated, were actually both to keep commonality of class to continue the amalgamation and the reunification of the country. Both chose the 114 as a standardized rolling as locomotives to be operated across all parts of the network. And in so doing, it actually became quite an iconic sort of symbol of the reunification of Germany, and almost like the end of the Cold War in Europe kind of thing. It was really interesting. But yeah, so yeah, this was a representation of that available now. So this one comes with 3 scenarios. However, the 3 scenarios will only work with the Hamburg S1 S-Bahn route. So hence why I wanted to talk about these 2 together. but otherwise, yeah, it is fully quick draw compatible. You create your own scenarios, workshop compatible, so you can create your own scenarios and stuff like that. But here's where it gets really interesting. So the price of the train by itself is $20 or your regional equivalent. The price of the S-Bahn route add-on by itself is $40 or its regional equivalent, but you can buy them both together for $35. So I don't know if that's a typo on pricing. If it is, you might want to grab it now rather than wait until they figure it out. Because yeah, generally speaking, when you bundle stuff together, you sort of take the most expensive item and add a little bit onto the top of that. But instead, it's cheaper than the most expensive item. So go figure. Anyway, you can get all your products, all your Hamburg S-Bahn route products and associated extra train, all for one price of $35 or your regional equivalent if you are so interested. But yes, these are available now for Train Simulator 2017, available now on Steam. Alrighty, and rounding out the simulation news for this week, so we saw a release from the guys over at Kinetic Studios and published by Aerosoft. So this one's been one that's been in early access and sort of preview for about 6 months now, which is Emergency Call 112 or Notruf 114, the Feuerwehr simulation. Essentially, it's not like the other sort of emergency simulations that we've seen. It's similar, but it's more detailed. Instead, it takes a more focused approach. Instead of you manage and run a single fire station, a very modern fire station, but a single fire brigade and a single fire station is what you do with the vehicles that they have and the equipment that they use. So it goes down to the personal, an individual personal level, as well as sort of being a simulation of various the vehicles and what they do. You get multiple vehicles included this one, including a fire truck, a tender truck, and a turntable ladder and a command vehicle. You've got removable equipment, breathing apparatus is required, sort of all the different hoses, fire extinguishers, everything you can imagine, all included this one. You've got a whole heap of scenarios you can run through here, so there's different challenging scenarios, or there's also like a challenge mode in there as well. So yes, looking kind of interesting. As I said, I like the fact that it's taken a more micro view of it rather than the macro view that some of the other simulators out there do. So, which is kind of cool and kind of interesting and very well done. But yes, available now from either from Aerosoft's website directly, your favorite simulation web store, or available on Steam, around about $35 or your regional equivalent, available now. Alrighty folks, that does wrap up the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for joining me once again. As always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more, or if you feel that there's somebody that would be interested in some of the news they've seen, don't forget to share the video on your networks and to let everybody else know about some of the latest releases in the simulation world. Otherwise folks, thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, you can find me on, if you are looking for me, you can find out my other things and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.